Hello, everyone. Welcome to another session with Unique Master. Today we have Maria. She's an entrepreneur and expert in the tourism industry, and I'm sure she can introduce herself better than me. So please.
Hi, Mobina. Thanks for having me here. Yes, I'm Maria. I come from Spain, in a little city close to Barcelona. I studied German philology. I chose the German one because we had just only 20 students in the classes, so it was a luxury to be there with so few people. So it was challenging at the same time because I could just talk very little in German, just numbers and colors. So it was very challenging at that time for me. And I moved to Germany practically to improve my German. I started with a summer camp in Cologne. Then I went to Frankfurt for an Erasmus program. I did a scholarship close to Stuttgart, and then I moved to Berlin, and actually the place where I live and the place that discovered my entrepreneurial skills. In the year 2006, I started a job in a hotel company. I was in project management, and the tasks were not very challenging for me. I missed my student job as a local tourist guide in Barcelona. I missed this contact with people in Barcelona, with these travelers admiring this amazing city. And also I missed the contact with local guys, which are passionate about history and arts. And I missed all these insights. And at that time, a colleague of mine told me about the lack of products, the Spanish-speaking products in the city of Berlin. It was a moment that international travelers were visiting the city, and we didn't have enough products in Spanish. So I didn't think that much, and I started. I quit my job. I became this Gründungszuschuss. And I started a company. It was a walking tour company, incoming travel agency. It was in 2008. As I said, we didn't think that much. We just had an instinct and did it. And we learned on the go. And right now here I am with a company with 13 years old and struggling a lot with this pandemic.
Yeah, I mean, your journey is very challenging and interesting, and you started your business without having any, I think, business background or being like an entrepreneur. Wasn't it a little bit scary because you also left your job? I'm curious because our audience, they also may come from a different background, not a business background, and it would be interesting to tell how did you make this brave decision?
Well, this is the same question I did myself as I started, because of course you think in your background and then you're saying yourself, come on, German philology, so it's nothing about business. I didn't have any MBA or exactly parents with an entrepreneurial background. But I think it's a kind of instinct. It's a feeling you have, and if you have an idea and if you want to push something, and if you have the feeling you have to feel something in the market, you can offer something for the society. I think that's your choice. And in Spain, we would say you just need a couple of eggs on the table. It doesn't sound very female friendly, but I think that's this instinct you have, this butterfly in your stomach, and then you just need courage and say, okay, I'm going to try it. And at least you don't lose anything. You can always go back. And that was my point. If it doesn't work, then I go back, and you don't go back in the same way, because you have learned a lot of things in this way, in this journey. So just try it, just go for it.
Yeah, I'm totally agree with you. We just have to start and try it at least. This is the smallest thing we can do. Great. Based on what you said, you found that there is a need in the market, so you start your business. But I'm curious to know the specific step of starting a business or startup in the tourism industry. Could you please share that with us?
Actually, you cannot you cannot say how do we transform it, because of course you have a lot of life experiences, you have studies and a background, and this always works for the future, this always works for the business. So again, it's like this feeling you have, and you have to transform it in a business. You have to ask yourself a lot of questions, and you learn it on the go. For instance, how do I find my clients? How can I find a team? Where can I find this team? So these are a lot of questions that you are asking yourself really on the go. So you are learning by doing. And in my case, when I started the business, I saw clearly, okay, the travelers are coming through the airport, so I'm going to push the offline publicity in the airport, and it was a jackpot. It worked. This method, it wouldn't work now because the travelers are coming through the OTAs, for instance, as Get Your Guide. So at the point you are starting your business, you have to ask yourself, where are they coming from? Where can I get my clients? And for instance, right now, this is a question I'm doing myself, because during this pandemic, I had a lot of time to brainstorm nonstop. And of course, I had to freeze my business. I had to send my employees, my team to a temporary layoff, and I had a lot of time to think. I had time to reinvent myself, and I started another company in travel tech, also in the tourism industry. And this is one of the questions I'm doing myself. How can I get the customers in a moment which everything is freezed? But I have another advantage, and it is that I'm working with B2B clients too, and of course they trust me. And they will go to me because they have a connection with me.
Great. I'm sure that you met a lot of challenges, and you probably still have challenges. Entrepreneurship is all about like challenge. What were your challenges at the beginning, and how did you overcome them?
Well, you have a lot of tiny challenges all the time, and I think you have to be flexible all the time. You have to be open for changes. That's the point. You have to follow your vision. That's very important. But I think it's very important at the same time to be open for changes, to have always a plan B, and to think we're going to find always a solution. If you are very negative, you're not going to deal with anything. So always you have to keep your energy, to keep your positive mindset, and to go for it. My biggest challenge, well, in the past, before the pandemic, was the acquisition of the whole company in the year 2017. I started the company with another person, and we had at the end different visions, and we had to deal with the acquisition. So it was a difficult way and a big challenge for me, always thinking about this non-MBA background. So it was really a huge thing for me. And the biggest challenge right now, it's being the pandemic, because I had to freeze absolutely everything. So how do you overcome these problems? Sometimes you don't know yourself, how do you overcome these problems? Because the pandemic was really a big thing for all the industry. So you have zero revenue from one day to the other one, and you have a fear that the business is going to come to an end. But at the end, you have more than 10 years experience. You know how to react. You have a team behind you which is supporting you, which is believing in your project, and that's worth it. So I don't know why exactly. You have the energy there, you have a responsibility, you have to want to keep it. It's your baby, so you don't want to lose it as so easy. So you have this energy there, and you got it.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. The most important thing for founders and entrepreneurs is intrinsic motivation. And I mean, some people just start this path to become rich and because of the money, but it's not enough. it may be enough for the first few months, but after that you need more because you know better than me, maybe your business is not profitable for at least 3 years. So that's why you should be patient. Yeah, great point. Also, another important point for entrepreneurs is building a good network. And it's hard for people who come from non-business backgrounds because, for example, for me, my background is natural science, and I only knew scientists and doctors. And for you, I know also different. How did you start building your network?
You know, to be honest, when I started with the agency, I didn't follow any network. I was just working on my own, maybe a wrong way, probably a wrong way. But I had to be up to date in my field. So I did a lot of network in my field, in the tourism industry. I work with Visit Berlin. I was doing some promotion with Deutsche Zentrale für Tourismus, so the German Travel Council. I joined some associations very focused in the incoming tourism industry, for instance, the Federal Association for Incoming Agencies. And I am joining also the Indora Association, which is for the tourist attractions in Berlin. So there's an amount of professionals there that they support you, they keep you updated, they know you, and that's very important to keep this network. On the other hand side, it's also very nice to have an entrepreneurial network, and this is what I didn't do in the past. Thanks to this pandemic, I have to say like this, I started with a startup and I started to join some entrepreneurial networks. So you have a lot of different professionals and entrepreneurs from very different backgrounds. Some of them are very specialized in robotics, where I have no idea about that, or really different kind of business. And they are full of energy and they have other backgrounds. So it's also very nice to be in contact with them because they have a special energy and a special passion to scale a business, which is very nice to listen to. And I think this good energy sticks to you. And I think it worth to be there to know some other people, some experience, and how to scale their businesses, although they are not focused in your fields. So I would recommend to be in an entrepreneurial network that suits to you. For instance, we knew each other in Migrantpreneur, but you have a lot of different networks. Gründerszene is also a good thing for the ones who are here in Germany. So there are several ones, and you have to try it. And always in every event, you know, someone that works for you, and maybe you can get some good synergies. So
yeah, that's right. There are different apps even. For example, Meetup is one of them. You can meet people online virtually, and like Eventbrite is another one. So there are so many, and yeah, we should join them because being surrounded by so many motivated people who want to make change, it brings a lot of energy. But to do so, people need to boost their communication skills. So I don't know whether you were a communicative person or not. How did you do it?
Well, I think all of us have some difficulties for small talk sometimes. Maybe you have a bad day and you don't have to follow a small talk. And communication is something you have or not. But of course, you have techniques, and it's something about self-confidence too. I think if we talk about pitches, you have to practice, and practice. So if you don't like to practice with your friends and family, then do it in front of the mirror. That helps. And I think small talk is sometimes difficult for all of us, but you have to start in a way, and you have to think, come on, the other one is having the same problem as me. So just try it, just start in a way, and at the end, well, we all of us are human, you know.
Yeah. The good thing about humans are that they can change their habits, they're themselves, like not easy, but it's possible. For me, it was also, I'm not a communicative person I were not a communicative person at all, but I joined an accelerator program, Founder Institute, and I had to pitch every week. So it really helped me to just be open, talk about things, and pitching is a really good practice to start.
Yeah.
Apart from this, for people without business background, it's very important to be able to transform their previous experience into a business. And you did it very well. How did you do it?
I don't know, the energy that is inside of one person, maybe. I don't know. There's no clue to tell. That's a thing that surprised myself too. I really don't know how to answer this question, because I think there's no trick for that. It's something you feel, it's something you have inside you, and then you transform it into a business. But the point of no background, that makes you, of course, not very secure with yourself, and then you have to prepare yourself to know that, okay, that's your point is a good idea, your business is a good idea, come on, let's go for it. So you have to teach yourself too, and forget about this background, and forget about maybe the money you don't have, and just try it. As I said, you have always a solution, and maybe it doesn't work in the way you thought, but I think there's always a way, and at the end it can work.
Yeah, start with it. It's a really good point. And another thing that I think is good to do is just think with yourself what skills you don't have and what skills you have, and they can help you. The one that you don't have, it's clear. You should start learning a little bit about it, and also maybe you can outsource or bring some co-founders into your business. And also, like the one that you should relate it to your idea. I'm sure there is some relation, and just start boosting it, so you'll become an expert in what you know. And I think you did the same as well.
Well, I think in my case, I was looking very good at the industry all the time. Just the trends. You look at the actual topics they're talking all the time. You control your competitors, and that's the way you can design your path. And it's also a way to know your do's and don'ts. So I think be up to date, control your industry, control your field, and control your competitors.
Yeah, that's important too. I think you meant market research. So you did market research to know more about your competitors. Yeah, definitely. This is the second step after having an idea, and it should be done. But there are some circumstances at the beginning, and I think the major one is people say, I don't have money to start. Or maybe at the middle of the way, they have little money to run their business. Did you have the same experience during the pandemic?
Well, look at me. I mean, right now I'm poorer than with 20, to be honest. This pandemic was really hard, so I have a collection of credits to pay, and I don't know why I had the energy to start with another venture. I think the money is a very important thing, because if you don't have the money, you get very fast demotivated and frustrated. But if the idea is there, if you see that you have a market opportunity, if you really think that the market is weak and that you can do something for this industry, why not? I mean, you have to try it. And maybe you want to scale the business in 1 year and it doesn't work because you don't have any money, or the pandemic enlarges as nowadays. So we are having right now the 4th wave, and that's the never-ending story. And probably my startup is going to be even later in the market, but well, you have to try it. And if this plan A doesn't work, then come on, then switch to the plan B or C. But why not to try it? I think it would be a waste of time. And if you have started, so go on and keep on rocking.
Exactly. Never give up attitude should be one of the, I think, major characteristics of an entrepreneur. That was a very good answer. Thank you.
And Marina, I think entrepreneurs have to know that all these handicaps are part of the game. I mean,
exactly.
it wouldn't be challenging enough if we just run the business in the right way. You have, I think it's important to have problems with your personal, with your team. That's not always very nice, and it goes soft. So I think it's important to have competitors and you keep awake. I think it's important to have not a pandemic maybe, but problems, because it's the only way you keep the business alive. And if not, it would be boring for the entrepreneurs, to be honest.
Yeah, that's true. This is part of the game. Exactly. I think people who just start shouldn't look at Elon Musk or Mark Zuckerberg, because like there are very like few examples. And if you really study about their background and their journey, you know that at the beginning, maybe the first 5 years, they were also not rich. They maybe, like most of the time, entrepreneurs and founders at the beginning have little income compared to their employees, so they pay employees more, and this is just exactly part of the game, but it's gonna be fun.
Yeah, you have to keep on rocking.
Exactly. I think for your first business, you managed to get some clients, right? And you still have the clients. How did you got your first clients?
Well, I think I have mentioned that we saw at that moment that we didn't have products in Spanish in Berlin. So we started with walk-in tours, and we had two ways to get the clients. One of them was, of course, the website, but the website was not positioned at that time. Practically, we didn't know so much about Google Ads and all this stuff. We were really new in the business. And one of the points to get in for the travelers was the airport. So we had offline publicity. It was very expensive for us, but it was our investment, and it worked because we didn't have at that time a lot of competitors. We could put the brand in a very good position in the very beginning of our business, and then we optimized our visibility through Google Ads, website had to be optimized, and we did it. So we optimized the different channels, but the first point for us was the offline publicity, the offline advertisement at the airport. Yeah.
Great idea. Did you know how to run Google Ads, or you had someone else doing it for you?
We did it learning by doing too, so probably we lost a lot of money. And at the very beginning, when you don't have any money, you think you can do everything. You can do it, maybe you can learn a lot, but I think you waste a lot of time and also a lot of money. And you see it afterwards. Right now, I'm dealing with the business in a very different way, and I try to have professionals for every department. But the structures are different. At the beginning, you want to keep all your money for you, and I think that's the very wrong way. But as I said, you learn a lot on the go, and well, that's part of the game too. You have to recognize, okay, I have these skills, and I use my time for these skills, and for the other ones, I have to have another people for that. But at the beginning, you don't see that. You want to do everything, and you want to keep the money for you. Yeah, because you don't have that much.
Yes, that's right. It's the same for everyone. If you can go back a few years ago, what would you do differently for your business and a startup?
I would connect associations at the very beginning of the company, practically after founding. At the moment you launched the product, I would say join networks. It's the same, what kind of networks do you join? But I started very late. I started practically 8 years after the founding. And well, we learned, of course, with another people and another professionals. But I wasn't in associations as part of it. And I think it's really very important. And I would recommend to do that. For instance, with a startup, I'm going to do it practically in the next month after the launch of the beta version. So I think it's very important to get to scale faster the business, to get feedback from other professionals, and to be seen too. That's very important, to be seen, to have visibility.
Yeah, exactly. To be seen is very important. Just don't think that I'm so small, it may be not nice to present or feel shy. Just go ahead. And I figured out how helpful are these startup ecosystem, people in this ecosystem, and they really help each other. So we shouldn't be scared of just sharing it. Thank you so much, Maria. To like end this session, do you have any closing remark or any advice for people who just want to start?
Don't be afraid, just try it. As we say in Spain, put the balls on the table and say, come on, let's gonna do that. I think it works. It's a very nice adventure, and well, you'll learn so much on the way that I think it works, and you have to do it. You have to try it. Just you can always go back.
Yes, that was very good point. Thank you so much. I really enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed it as well. And I hope that I can have another session later with you.
Thank you, Mabina, for your invitation. It was great. Thanks.